G'day guys, welcome to the channel. My name's Tim, and on today's episode, we're taking a look at this section here of Bitcoin, and we're comparing it to this section here back in April. I've noticed a couple very similar, scary patterns that are playing out, and I just want to draw your attention to those. We're going to be taking a look at the price action, the shape of the candles, the RSI, the stock RSI, and the volume. All right, let's get stuck in. So first of all, what I've done is I've actually taken a screenshot of this section here and this section here, and I put them side by side so we can have a close-up view of how they both compare. And I just want to show you all the things that they have in common. Now, first of all, this is uncanny. Look at the shape here. So we came up from below the 20-day moving average, which is the red line. We did that on both occasions. We came up with a couple of green candles until we had this red candle here. Look at this, exactly the same. And then we had a big green candle here until we reached the top. And we did a very similar thing here with these green candles. So far, the ascent was very, very similar. Then on the way down, we had big red candles. We closed below the 20-day moving average. You see that? We've done that on both occasions. And right here in April, we ended up closing on the 50-day moving average, which is the orange line. Now this time around, we didn't, but we had a few green candles until we eventually did close right on the 50-day moving average as well. Then in April, we had these two smaller candles right here going sideways, and that's what we've done right now. And both of those candles both closed underneath the 50-day moving average. And right now we're closing pretty much right on it. So you can maybe argue that we're on it, but it's so similar, it's uncanny. So in terms of the price action and the moving averages, we're very, very, very similar to what happened in April. Okay, now let's have a look at the RSI of this section versus this section. Now you'll notice leading up to this point, back in February to April, we had a bearish divergence with the RSI. You can see lower high after lower high, while the price was essentially going up. Now, we've had exactly the same thing happening in this July to September timeframe. Bearish divergence. RSI going down, price action going up. So that was very, very, very similar. Now, you'll notice here, at the very peak, we started the RSI right here at the top of the overbought section. So this is well overbought. This is just the top of the overbought section. Now we've done a very similar thing over here right now in September. Then we came below this yellow dotted line, which I've put in, which seems to be an area that we do tend to touch on a regular basis. And we went below it, we retested it, and then we dropped down to the bottom. So you can see that right there, and then we went down to the bottom. Now let's have a look over here. Again, we've gone below the yellow line, we've retested it, and let's see what happens next. If we follow a similar pattern to what happened in April, we could see the RSI and the price drop further around to this 100-day moving average right here. Now, of course, past performance is not an indicator of what will happen in the future. I just thought this is very interesting that we've done a very similar pattern so far. This is almost a B wave and then a follow through C wave correction. So we'll have to see if we do that again. Now let's have a look at the stock RSI. So you'll notice right here, we're in the overbought section right at the peak. And then we dropped down here to the oversold section and we stayed there until we rebounded off the 100-day moving average and worked our way up until we did the lower high. Now, at the moment, we've started in a very similar position. We started at this overbought section, and we've gone down, and now we're going sideways slightly at the moment. So we'll see how this plays out. But so far, that and that look very similar to that and that. So you'll notice when we did bounce off the 50-day moving average, we had a big green engulfing candle. You know, there was no doubt that we were bouncing off. It was quite strong. So you'll notice when we bounced off the 50-day moving average, we had a big, strong green engulfing candle. You can see that one right there. And then another one right here. Once we didn't even bounce off the 50-day moving average quite, but there was a big engulfing green candle there. And then we had another big green engulfing candle here as well. So right now, it does look a little bit weak. It does look more similar to this section here where we're showing a bit of weakness as opposed to strength. And the volume is quite low as well. So right now, to me, this looks like it's showing more weakness, and the probability of going down and testing the 100-day moving average is more likely unless we have a strong green candle, I would say in the next day or two at the most. If we don't have a strong green candle soon, it's not looking good for this being a reversal. Now, if we do happen to reverse, either at this point here, bounce off the 50-day and move up, or if we go down below to around the 40K mark, where the 100-day moving average is, and then bounce up from there, we may have a similar situation here where we test the 20-day and the 50-day moving averages. And on this occasion back here in April, May, we really struggled. We can see these engulfing candles, big red candle, big green candle, bit of indecision, a bit of weakness, and then we eventually fell through. So there's still a couple of hurdles that Bitcoin will need to jump through until we find out where we're going next. So in conclusion, to me, the similarities between this section of Bitcoin and this section of Bitcoin are so similar. And the fact that we're showing weakness, the fact that the volume is quite low, we've had bearish divergences prior to this point, and the fact that we're retesting this part of the RSI that we have seen back here in April as well, that does lead me to think that we may be in for some more weakness and more downside before we reverse up. But you have to keep an open mind. All it will take is one big strong green candle to come out of nowhere, and we could be reversing up. So to me at this stage, it's too early to call. And that's what makes crypto so exciting, doesn't it? We could go up or we could go down, and no one really knows. Let's keep a very close eye. If we have a strong green candle that goes up, then we know that we may be retesting the 20-day moving average again. And if we have a candle going down, especially a close going down, we are most likely going to test the 100-day moving average at about 40K. So it could be a very interesting couple of days coming up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Please follow me on Twitter at TechnicalTimCR1. Thank you for all the comments. We're at a very exciting time right now with crypto, and we'll keep checking these charts. The charts are giving us clues, and sometimes it does the opposite to what we think, but we want to put the probability on our side. So anyway, until next time, my name's Tim, and cheers.